Uranus-Mercury combinations in the horoscope. And you can find out if you have Uranus and Mercury by going to my birth chart calculator, for which I'm putting a link here, and entering your place of birth. The time is not important. Even if you don't know your time, you will see if you have this aspect. Go to the planetary aspect table below the main chart and write to me here on YouTube the aspectual value, sorry, not the aspectual, the value and the sign and degree of Uranus and the sign and degree of Mercury. And I'll tell you if you have the aspect between these two planets. You can have two types of aspects between Uranus and Mercury, the easy one or the difficult one. But any kind of contacts between, and I'll tell you what the difference between these two are, but any kind of contacts between Uranus and Mercury will have a similar energy around them. So how do these play out? Mercury is the planet of communication, and Uranus is a planet of truth. So for these people, the truth is the most important thing. They'll shock people with what they say. If you ask them to tell you something, they'll be honest. And if they don't like how they dress, if you don't like your ideas, if they think what you're doing is silly, they will tell you. I knew a prophetess in Bulgaria who was like, politicians would go there, the president of Russia would go there, you know, like really big people. And she would be just straight and direct to them and tell them how it is. She would tell them the Russian empire will fall apart, you know, that was like 50, 60 years ago. And she was direct with everyone and didn't care whether she'll go to prison or anything. Or like a person would go to her and say, well, I have financial problems. Say, why do you worry about financial problems when you might not live very long? You know, she'll be so outright. And I have a friend as well with this combination. She'll just tell me things as they are. And these people are not always the most popular ones when they have Uranus-Mercury aspects, because they care for the truth. They don't care so much about the emotions. Not like they're heartless, not at all, but they will, for them there's nothing more important than telling what they think they believe is the truth. So they might be a little bit harsh with words, a little bit too outspoken, a little bit too brisk, especially the harder aspects between these two planets. The softer aspects, they're somehow a bit more softer in telling the truth, and they're a bit more refined. They've worked on this quality of speaking out their truth in past lives, and they come in this lifetime already with much more refined skills at that. But those who have the harder aspects, they're here to learn to speak the truth. They're here, and that's why it's so... they can do it in a little bit more outrageous way. So often they're not the most popular people, and they might even ostracize themselves from society or from certain circles or people if they believe that just because they're sticking to certain principles and rules and views and they're not going to budge from them. Often they're very stubborn in their ideas. For them, if they believe their ideas and their opinions are true, they will be very stubborn about those, unless you present to them really convincing information to the opposite. But often, if you have especially the harder aspect, these people come into this life with some mission to introduce some new truth or to break some rules. Mercury rules Mercury represents the rules. The game of the rules that we play in society between each other, relationships between people, communications, how we do things, you know, interpersonally and in society as a rule overall. And Uranus is a rebellious energy in the sense that they would want their truth, whatever they believe. And often they'll be very progressive people. So these people are often amazingly good for trade unionists, for people who organize rallies, for people who, you know, have to boycott something, for people who will not budge on their opinions, for people who create new ideas and new kind of systems and new rules, and they're going to stick to them. And however unpleasant it might be to the normal people, because people don't like to be, you know, taken out of their comfort zones or being told the truth often, or being revolutionized or challenged in the way they communicate with others. And often people might not like so much those people, those Uranus-Mercury people, but they don't care. They want to speak their truth. And Uranus is also in esoteric astrology the so-called just like we have internet around us, Uranus rules also the internet. But all this information that is around us, which is invisible, it is the internet. So often Mercury, Uranus people might be quite involved in internet somehow, communicate through internet a lot, express their ideas through internet or through some other high-tech devices. They can be quite interested in high-tech devices. They can be quite skillful in high-tech devices, and might even kind of not engineering mind, but can be can have a lot, like even collect such gadgets and be quite interested and buy every new gadget that comes that is high tech, like my partner does. So everything new, we have Apple TV, Apple everything, everything that comes we have. But Uranus on a higher level is the so-called Akashic records. I don't know if you know what this is, but this is all the information that ever existed about everything is around us on an invisible level. And some people, especially the people who have Uranus, Mercury aspects or conjunction or whatever, they can tap into those pathways of universal information. Some of them are even clairvoyant, but some of them might not be aware they're clairvoyant. What happens is that all of a sudden they come up with a great idea, and it comes into the flash of lightning. It comes like so fast to them, almost like they download a whole fully formed idea at once. Like I think a few composers have this, like Mozart. I'm not quite sure, I have to check. I think Mozart had it. And for him, the music that he was hearing would come fully formed in his head. Or like J.K. Rowling, when she was on the train, and all of a sudden the whole idea about Harry Potter came fully formed into her head. So these people can tap into those channels and get fully formed ideas, because before we get the ideas, they're already out in the ether, they're in the Akashic record. So such people can have almost genius kind of qualities, especially the more highly evolved ones. So they might not be always geniuses. They might sometimes just be quite annoying to others, speaking their truth and annoying others, and saying things that are kind of touchy. But at certain moments in their life, almost everyone who have Uranus Mercury aspect will have like a illumination, sudden realization, sudden understandings of truth, like a bulb, eureka comes on top of their head. They can be inventors, quite a few inventors, and people who discovered something new have this. I think Louis Pasteur had that, and he was so stubborn, he so much believed in his ideas that he actually got himself sick with whatever he was trying to heal, to prove that he can heal it. Also, these people, as I said, on the highest level, they can be genius, and even if they're not genius all the time, at certain moments they have brilliant flashes of realizations, ideas would come to them. And if you want someone to give you a different point of view, because Uranus is this very unique energy, very different, like a higher point of view, which is totally out of whack, which is totally unusual, which is totally out of the bounds of the traditional. If you're stuck in a rut, go to a Uranus Mercury person, and they will be able to give you quickly a few ideas, or give you a different perspective in some way, which can break you out of a rut. And these people as well, Uranus Mercury people, they would often, their ideas and their understanding of the situation, when they're stuck in something will come into their mind, some idea, brilliant, or some information or advice they will read or hear that just will make this eureka, light bulb on their head, and they'll be able to break through old habits. And if you have someone Uranus Mercury, and if this person has some addictions or some, as I said, they're stuck in a situation, the best way for them to get out of this repetitive routine or whatever it's giving them problems and they're stuck in, it's through their ideas. Their mind will help them go through there. The change always happens first on the mental level with those people, and that's the best way for a change to happen, because then it filters down to the emotional level and finally to the physical level. But often, they might have a lot of brilliant ideas, and very unusual, unorthodox ideas, but unless there is like a strong Saturn there or something else to manifest those ideas, they might just stay as ideas. But these are great, creative-minded people in their mind, quite sharp, let's say. Not so much creative like artistic, but original ideas. But again, as I said, society might not be very happy with those people because they're rebellious in their minds, and no one wants the status quo. Well, few people, or at least society, institutions, organizations, want the status quo to be shaken. But those people are here to bring new ideas, to revolutionize their skills as well, because Mercury rules the skills that we have. Because it's the mind, you know. The skills we have are the things we learn. And Uranus, Mercury, people can revolutionize their art or their craft. For instance, Coco Chanel had the conjunction between Uranus and Mercury, so she revolutionized fashion. Or you can revolutionize playing on an instrument, for instance, or you can introduce a new technique playing on an instrument. Coco Chanel made, like, for the first time, women wearing suits. And that was unheard of, you know. She was a rebel in fashion. Or any kind of art or craft that you have, or ideas, you can create something new and unusual and unique. I don't have this aspect, but I had recently Uranus, Mercury transit. And I guess this is how all people feel all the time when they have by birth Uranus, Mercury. It's like I was getting so many ideas and so quickly. And I have like ideas for 10 years ahead that I'll have to, that I'll have to continue doing. But I'm so glad for this transit because it disrupts your routine, but actually it brings you a lot of ideas. And these people also, their routines might not be the most consistent. They might not be so much, their order might be somehow unusual and might not make much sense to other people, but in their head it makes sense. And as I said, their mind is quite intuitive. When they communicate, they might communicate very fast because their mind is running ahead. Because it's like at the speed of lightning. Uranus is this lightning energy. And at the speed of lightning, they might think, and they might, when they say something, they start it and they go to the conclusion, and they might lose others in the process because they talk. So they think so fast, so this lightning process, and they can be quite intuitive as well. They can, again, as I say, get answers straight without having to go through the logical process of analyzing something. Mercury rules friendships as well. And when Uranus, especially the harder aspects like conjunctions, square, oppositions with Mercury, in the life of those people, often friends might come and go suddenly, or friends might be long distance away. My partner has this, and all his best friends are in different continents all over the world. And this is like, Uranus is this planet of inconsistency, stop and go. So there's like your friendships, your people that you communicate with, or it can be a little bit more erratic or inconsistent, or they can be very Uranian people, very open-minded, different, progressive. And you are such a person yourself when you have Mercury and Uranus. You're progressive, open-minded, to the level of annoying even others. And often, as I said, they'll speak out their truth and shock people, and their sense of humor will be a bit zany and weird as well, their sense of expressing what their truth. For instance, Sacha Baron Cohen, the dude that played Borat, he has Mercury-Uranus conjunction, I think, or opposition, one of the hard aspects. And his sense of humor is outrageous. He shocks people to the point of disgusting them even. But this is what Uranus-Mercury can do. And Uranus-Mercury person can appreciate this kind of a shock value communication and presentation of information. And, and such people, nothing will shock them information-wise as well. Because they're quite open to extremes and different, unusual ideas and views. And they're kind of futurist thinkers. Yes. But the annoying thing is that with the difficult aspects, these people, because they're here to learn to stick to the truth and expressing communications, they can do it to an extreme level. They can do it almost to the level of dictatorship, that they don't at all consider others' opinions but their own. And when they fix their mind on something, they believe something is like it is, that's what it is, But they're often great orators for truth, and they speak their truth. Russell Brand, the comedian, also has this one that has the easy aspect. And he speaks out his political ideas, his political views, his not only political but spiritual views, quite outspokenly, and does not care what others think, and even if he steps on others' toes, So this is the energy that you get. I've seen many comedians actually have Uranus-Mercury, because Uranus is this really fast planet. It's with planet at the speed of light that it moves. and Mercury is the mind, so their mind is very fast. They, like I get, as I said, they get answers and they get quick retorts at the speed of light, and this is what a lot of comedians need. And for instance, who is like Jimmy Fallon has this combination, Jack Galifianakis, the dude from The Hangover, you know. I wrote a few, but I forgot who had it, and yeah. Charlie Chaplin, I think, also had this combination, the opposition, and their sense of humor might be a little bit like even teasing others, you know, but this is what is important for them. Let's see what I've written on. Yeah, and these are not people who talk behind other people's backs, unless there is Pluto there involved somehow, because unless their Pluto is very strong, because Uranus, they're not concerned with hiding things or protecting others' emotions and feelings. They'll tell you things into the face when they think those things, and they cut through hypocrisy, and they can shed a light on the situation by looking at it a totally different light. I've told you that. And for them, it's so important to prove that they have their own original minds, that they have a thinking of their own. They can reach conclusions on their own, without needing the help of anyone else. They can come to original ideas, and this is what they're here to work in this lifetime and to prove and to help others do. You know, and they often, Mercury's education, how you're learning, and these people usually in primers, in school, they might have rebelled at school. They might have been bored at school because their mind, have you heard of the Indigo children? They have very strong Uranus energy. And particularly when it's with Mercury, these people might have like attention deficit. Their mind might be skipping a lot, you know, and they might be branded attention deficit disorder people. But no, their mind is just much faster than others, much more intuitive. They lose interest. Like they process information so fast, they don't even realize how they do it. So they lose interest in the environment around, in the learning environment, and a lot of those people might be advocates later in life of progressive educational system, maybe studying, outside in nature, maybe introducing new liberal methods, and they want the educational system to teach children how to form their own opinions, how to create original ideas, not just how to memorize things. And they're amazing at that, you know. And they can be also something. Mercury is often connected to memory, to the perceptions, the 5 perceptions. And Uranus highly sensitizes the 5 perceptions because it's a really nervous, high vibration energy when Uranus is with Mercury somehow, especially the conjunction. So these people, you can see them, they might have tendency to nervous, not breakdowns, but nervous tension. You might feel them having like tics, making something like sounds, or, you know, moving somehow a little bit like disruptive movements, disruptive kind of energy around them, but electrifying as well. Their mind is electrifying. They're so brilliant, those people often. They don't need much explanation. They get it quickly. But those 5 senses can be quite sensitized. They can smell a bit too strong. They can feel a bit too loudly the sounds as well. You know, all those 5 perceptions that Mercury rules. And they can have an acute smell or something like that. They usually tend to have photographic memory. My partner has the hard aspect exact within 1 degree. And he remembers what all of my girlfriends have ever worn, or what I have ever worn on any date we have gone for 5 years now. And he is not any kind of a weirdo to remember those things. He would remember what the neighbor was wearing 2 years ago. Just like they remember things often. It's not in all cases, but I've seen it repeat a lot, this photographic memory thing. The nervous system, they have to watch it out. They have to find ways to slow down their mind, because their mind works over too much, too fast sometimes. They have to find ways to calm it down, to release the nervous tension somehow, and to, you know, maybe some meditative techniques will be very good, like yoga or I don't know, meditation or a concentration of the thought, so the thought does not skip all over the place, because Uranus is this come and go, stop and start energy that it can be all over the place. But this is what these people, when they communicate, Uranus is very excitable, electrifying energy. And their communication they can exhilarate and electrify others with their communication, sometimes in the wrong way, sometimes in the right way. But there is so much power when those people speak. And also, electric appliances are very much ruled by Uranus because it rules electricity. So in extreme cases, especially in the hard aspects, electric appliances can burst or stop and start and give dysfunctions around those people because somehow they're, this Uranus energy is strong in them. Or even in their communications, they can be like abrupt stops, and then they start in verbal diarrhea, and then it's kind of this disconnectedness sometimes in their thinking processes, which can seem erratic to others. And their relationship with siblings, Mercury also rules siblings, and I said friendships, they can be also erratic, stop and go. Siblings might live far away, or they might have periods when they have disruptions of the relationship with the sibling, and then it starts again, and it's kind of a woo-woo, a little bit of a roller coaster. But very bright minds, people who basically, if you have a child with Mercury, Uranus, think of some alternative method of educating those children, because they usually pick up information much faster, and they have very, and finding a ways to calm their mind, but not with Ritalin, please. Do it in the natural ways to stimulate their mind properly. So thank you very much. And and I forgot to say something. Uranus often rules any kind of knowledge, higher knowledge. So these people are very much interested in learning a lot of things, only what they're interested in. If you're trying to teach them mathematics and they don't care for mathematics, forget it. With such children from young, you have to work with them to find out what they really like, because they will pay attention only to this, and they will learn it so fast, they would excel beyond anyone. They can show genius sparks there. But if you try and force them to learn some interest or to do something they're not much excited about, they totally will blank it. So thank you very much, Uranus, Mercury people. Hope I was able to help, and write down your comments.